It brings a sense of wonder, adventure, and I am so happy that we got another great family film that came out. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is Oliver Braincat, and today I'm going to review the latest family film, and that film is If. This movie is written and directed by John Krasinski, and this movie stars Cailey Fleming, Ryan Reynolds, with a voice cast that is freaking huge from Steve Carell, Awkwafina, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Matt Damon, Bradley Cooper, and much, much more. A young girl goes through a difficult experience, begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real-life friends have grown up. So, John Krasinski is doing a family film. Find it very interesting genre turn right here because, of course, if you don't know, John Krasinski directed A Quiet Place, which is one of my favorite horror films in the last decade. I thought that film is very original, very creative, but also has a really good message about what it takes to protect your kids, and that's what his aim is for that movie, and I find that really fascinating. And A Quiet Place Part 1 and 2, I love them both, and I thought those two are really good horror films, but when I found out that John Krasinski is now directing a family film, I find that very, very interesting about imaginary friends. And from the trailers, this movie looks very harmless. It looks like a fun kids movie, not knowing what to expect, but I would say I am curious to see how this film turns out. So I went to see an advanced screening of this film, not knowing what to expect, and oh my gosh, guys, walking out of this film, I was not expecting to have a reaction like this. I was blown away of how delightful If was. If is literally a right representation of what a family film should do. It should aim for kids and adults alike. And John Krasinski, man, this proves that he can direct movies. And he knows what films are all about. Trying to give you guys tension. And for a family film like this, man, like Ryan Reynolds even mentioned that this movie is trying to be like a live-action Pixar film. Why isn't this a live-action Pixar film? Because this film brings out, I feel like, what Pixar is all about. It's originality, it's creativity, but also with great heart and great emotion. And John Krasinski seriously directed this movie extremely well. And this proves that I want to see John Krasinski direct more freaking movies because I love the world of If. I love the imaginary world that this movie presents us. The imaginary friends, their world in this movie, the world building, is really creative. And just the overall imaginary friends concept is very, very creative because each of the imaginary friends in some way develops themes of their previous owners. And I find that really interesting and creative. Like, one of the imaginary friends has a owner that's a ballerina, so of course the imaginary friend is a ballerina. And I find that very, very creative, very interesting way to develop imaginary friends. And I just love the world that John Krasinski brings us in this movie. It brings a sense of wonder, brings a sense of magic and adventure. It literally felt like a movie that I would have loved if I was like 7 years old. I would have said this is one of my favorite childhood movies, kind of like with Wonka last year, that represents also what a family film is all about. It brings a sense of wonder, adventure, and I am so happy that we got another great family film that came out. Let's talk about the characters in this movie. First of all, the big breakout star in this movie. Honestly, man, I want to see her more stuff. Cailey Fleming as Bea. Great main lead in this film. Normally with child acting in this film, it's very hit or miss. Some can be annoying, some can be great. Cailey Fleming is definitely in the goods because she's one of those characters in this film that is very mature and she lost her childhood spark because there's a thing that happens with her parents in this movie that I'm not going to spoil that brings a lot of emotion to this film. And this film is all about bringing her imagination and childhood back. And I just thought her character was really well developed, and Cailey Fleming, man, what a star in this movie. She brings a lot of great emotion to this film and a lot of great heart, and she's just very likable in general. And Cailey Fleming is really fantastic in this film, and I love her chemistry with Ryan Reynolds in this film, who I also think is great in this film. I'm not going to spoil too much of who Ryan Reynolds is in the film because the trailer doesn't really explain who his character is, so I'm not going to explain this review, but all I got to say is their chemistry together, they create a really good duo in this film, and they bring a lot of heart and joy to this film. And Ryan Reynolds does a really good performance in this film. But the imaginary friends in general, the voice acting, man, there are so many big actors that are in this film. From, of course, John Krasinski himself, with Steve Carell, Awkwafina, Emily Blunt, Amy Schumer, Blake Lively, Matt Damon, George Clooney even. So many actors to name out, and each of the voice acting is really good in the film, even for the small parts. It's really fun to guess who voiced over what. But of course, the standout of the imaginary friends in the movie, of course, it's Blue, voiced by Steve Carell. He's just such a huggable character. He is so likable in this film. He is so hilarious in this film. And of course, Steve Carell is a hilarious actor, and he performs this character very, very well. He has a great chemistry with the two leads in the film. But each of the imaginary friends, like I said, has their own creative moments, and I really do love the world that this movie presented, but I love the story of this film. The overall story of this film, the lessons that this movie presented us. It is basically about bringing your childhood back, and honestly, after walking out of this film, it made me think of my childhood. It made me think of my imaginary worlds that I used to create with my cousins, because when I was little, me and my cousins are very close. We're still close to this day, but we were very close as kids, and we used to create our own imaginary world. We use a bathtub as a time machine. Hopefully Olivia and Chloe are watching this, because I'm bringing your childhoods back right here. We used to use a bathtub as a time machine. Yes, it may sound insane, but we were kids, we were kids. And after driving home from this film, that's all I've been thinking about. My imaginary worlds, my childhood memories, and it made me feel very emotional, missing my childhood. And that's what this film does a really good job at. It's secretly about adults bringing their childhood back, and John Krasinski seems like he knows what he's doing when it comes to this film. It's got stuff for kids, but I also think this is a great film for adults. It's about bringing your childhood back. Watching this movie, I'm 23 years old, so technically I'm an adult. I'm a young adult. And watching this film, it just brings back my imaginations as a kid, and it brings back my childhood. So I gotta thank John Krasinski for doing that. I was really happy walking out of this film going, yeah, this is a childhood type movie. If I was 7 years old, I would have loved this movie. I would have got the toys if this movie presented. I would have got the DVD and I will watch it religiously. Seriously, this is one of the better family films that I've seen in a very long time, and I want to see John Krasinski direct more stuff. If I can only say my only issue with the film is the ending. It's not a bad ending. It's a great ending, but it is a bit rushed. I feel like there is no big climax that's happening in this film that I was expecting. It's more about bringing your childhood back, and the ending of this film, it is very emotional, I'll give it that. I was literally in tears throughout the end, but it was a bit rushed. It was a bit sudden. But other than that, guys, overall, man, John Krasinski, you've done it again with If. This is a delightful family film from start to finish. It's great for kids and also great for adults. This movie is funny, it's delightful, it's magical, it's very emotional. It brings out what you want for a family film, and I gotta say, the world of the imaginary friends, this movie is very creative, very, very deep. And the film just uses imaginary friends in the most unique way possible, and John Krasinski directed this film very, very well. With Kelly Fleming being one of the best breakout acting for this entire year, with the voice cast from Ryan Reynolds, everyone does a brilliant job in this film. Like I said, this is the right representation of what a family film is all about, and I cannot wait to see what John Krasinski directs next, because I want to see him direct as much films as possible, because he knows what films are all about, and he knows what people wanted. So definitely go see If, especially the whole family, because I would say for families, go see If on the big screen. So guys, that's my review for If. Let me know what you think of this film in the comments below. Do you like the film, hate the film, or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contact with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, notify for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now excuse me, I'm going to watch the Wicked trailer so many times because, man, I'm so excited for this movie. So, have a nice day.